Welcome back to Journey with Jackie. I'm excited. If you want to know the pros and cons from using retinoids, should you do it, should you not do it, definitely stay tuned. I'm going to get right into it. So here's the thing. I have been using retinoids for a very long time, and I thought now would be a perfect time to sort of give you some insight on how I feel about them, what I learned from using and what I wouldn't do if I was to do it all over again, how I would do it. And so that's what I want to share with you. So let me start off by saying this. There is retinol creams, and then you have retinoids. So basically, retinol are the products that you typically would see in your pharmacy, in your drugstore. They're typically, because they're a lower strength, they're not prescription strength level. So lots of times they're, retinol creams by themselves, or they're mixed in with different moisturizers. And basically, it's another form of vitamin A. And so that's why it's really safe to use. And retinol creams, if you're just starting off, a really good age to start retinol creams are if you're like in your 20s and early 30s. That's typically when you would want to start the retinol creams. They're really safe. They'll help with skin smoothness. It'll help with a little discoloration. It'll help if you have a little acne, and help with the pores also. So that's typically what the retinol creams are good for. So if you have more of an issue with those four areas that I talked about, you probably will want to try something prescription. But anyway, so that's what retinol creams are good for. Now, when it comes to retinoids, it's just a stronger formula of the retinol creams. Typically, they're sometimes in gels. I've been using the retinoid, so it's a higher strength, so which means you have to actually get the prescription from your doctor, your family doctor, or your dermatologist. But most likely, I would start off with your dermatologist on the recommendation, so you are getting prescribed the perfect one that's meant for your skin and based on where you are. And then you can always have your regular family physician just, give you refills whenever you're in between seeing whoever, once you have the right regimen that your dermatologist has recommended for you. And so I have been using the generic brand of Retinoid. So as you can see, right here, it's 0.05, okay? So that's the difference. Prescription strength is 0.05. The drugstores over the counter that I mentioned is 0.01. So that is the difference between the two. And generally for FDA guidelines, the non-prescription product cannot be over 0.01. The FDA does not allow them to sell it higher strength without having a prescription. So anything higher, if you want something more results better, then if you think you need it, then you're definitely going to have to get your recommendation from your dermatologist prescription wise. Okay. So now here's the thing. So for me, I am in my 50s. Did I tell you that already? I don't think I told you that. If you guys don't already know, this is actually my birthday month. It is actually my birthday week. And actually, when I get done taping this video, I'm actually going to go pick up one of my birthday wish items that I'm really excited to pick up. The stores aren't open yet, but this particular store just opened up yesterday for curbside pickup. So they're going to wait for me to come pick it up curbside. So I'm going to be really excited to share with you when I get all my birthday items in, then I will definitely be sharing that video with you guys really soon. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, retinoids. Okay, so when it comes to retinoids, I've been using this particular product. I've used different generics over the years, but I've been using a retinoid gel for probably about 15 years since I've been seeing my dermatologist, because I have, if you haven't already heard, I'm sorry if I'm being redundant, people who are already following me know what my issues are. For people who are new, I have very sensitive, acne prone, oily skin. And so my dermatologist is helping me out for a long time. And so I don't really change my regimen too much, but I have been using a retinoid for the last 15 years. And for me, I have definitely noticed a difference of less outbreaks, of course. My pores are so much better. My skin definitely is smoother. So all of the things that retinoid or retinoid gels or creams say they do, they definitely do. The stronger one just gives me better results. But if you're in your 20s and early 30s, you may not need the prescription. But for me, I know, for me, I really started because of the acne in my pores. And then as a result, I got the benefits with, I definitely believe it's helping me with like fine lines around like my mouth area. I definitely know it's helping with my pores. I definitely know it's giving me smoother skin. And obviously the main benefit, which is less outbreaks due to acne. So those are the main things and the benefits of using either one, whether it's the 0.01 or the 0.05. And the other thing is, far as how soon will you see results, I'm going to say the studies say it's definitely like about 12 weeks, 3 months. I definitely agree with that one. But here's the difference. If you do suffer from acne prone skin and you're having a breakout and the doctor prescribed you and you're starting right away, I definitely think you're going to start noticing results really soon with clearing up your skin and giving you smoother skin and reducing your outbreak that you could be experiencing at the moment. But as far as like the fine lines and things like that and the smoother skin, give that a little bit more time and you should definitely see results definitely within 3 months. So definitely hang tight. The benefits are there, and especially if you're going to use it for a long time, you're definitely going to see the benefits. And I guess I'm just so used to using it for so long. I started because of the acne, but not realizing over the years that I was going to have all those other great benefits from using the product. So I am still thankful to use it. I don't really change too many. I've switched the product twice only because the first product that I was using was discontinued or they stopped making it in. So then I just switched to this generic one, which is the tretinoin I just showed you. But over the counter, you can buy DIFFERIN at the 0.01 strength at the pharmacy. They just started selling that probably, I think, about a year or two ago. So if you're just starting off, definitely try that one. And if you feel you want more, then just go to your dermatologist and they'll recommend some other options for you. Now, here is the cons that I just want to warn you about. Yes, there's always benefits and risks to everything, right? So basically, I am doing this because the summer is so important. When you're using retinoids, your skin is already sensitive because you're using a product that is really making sure that it's continuing to give you new skin cells. That is also what it's basically doing as the 0.01. And when it comes to the 0.05, it's basically you're using the gel is acting in the form of an exfoliator, a constant exfoliator every day for you. So your skin is automatically rejuvenating, giving you new skin cells every single day. So which means your face is constantly being renewed. And because of that, you have to watch about being in the sun. We already know that we should be wearing sunscreen. But when you're using a retinoid, you cannot leave the house without sunscreen because your skin is going to be sensitive. If the sun like sits on your face too long in a certain area and burns you, your face is going to turn red, it's going to be irritated, and you could have a lot of like a little minor outbreak just because the skin is like agitated your skin. So wearing sunscreen is super important. And the other thing why you have to wear sunscreen is for especially if you are African American or have olive tone skin or deeper skin, our pigmentation, if we have any discoloration on our face due to scars, anything like that previously, it's going to get darker. So it's going to darken any discoloration that you currently have of pigmentation on your face. So that's why you always have to wear sunscreen. And so speaking of screens, I am going to share with you to save you some time, as money as I like to do if I can. Here is what I use for sunscreens. I used to use and I still have it. The things that I'm sharing you are the things that I'm currently still using. But before, always on my face, I used to use the SHISEiDO one. Okay. And then for my neck and just for my arms, although I'm not putting the retinol on my arms, but just on my arms and my neck and my décolletage, then I would use the body one from SHISEiDO. And I'll link it before you below. And I'm saying that too because if you have sensitive skin, acne prone skin, oily prone skin, these are perfect. It's not going to break you out. It's not going to make you oily, and it doesn't leave a white film at all. Loving SHISEiDO. And then about 4 years ago, my dermatologist had shared with me that another screen had came out that he really liked and thought I should give it a try, and I absolutely love it. So I've sort of switched to this one as my go-to every day. To either get it from like your dermatologist or something like that, and you actually can buy it online. They just don't sell it directly in the pharmacy. SHISEiDO will give you a matte finish look, which is fine, especially in the summer if if you're really shiny. Basically, I'm getting sunscreen and I'm getting a nice moisturized feel to my face that I don't have to put anything else moisturizer at all on my face, because I consider this to be 2-in-1. So that's another reason why I like the ELTA MD. I don't claim to know everything. I just wanted to give you my takeaways and my experience. Sometimes more is always not better. And in this case, it actually caused me an outbreak. And I was like, what the heck? Because I only put the vitamin C like around my laugh lines. I thought I was going to try to make that better. Let me know what questions. Was this helpful? I'm hoping it was. I'm going to let you guys go. I thank you. I just wanted to share with you because I know we're in the height of going into summer right now. And if you're starting off new on the products, I just did not want you to, I just want you to continue to protect yourself so you have the wonderful benefits that I know these products can offer. I forgot to do my outfit of the day. Okay, real fast. I have on a CP Shades Old White V-neck t-shirt. I have my Rick Owens Lily vest on. I have on my fave black leather skirt by Burberry. I have on an old pair of Gladiator sandals by Delmont, which is really old. And then I am going to throw it on with my Chanel crossbody bag that I recently showed you that I got for my birthday last year. And my favorite pair of sunglasses is Oliver Peoples. So that is my outfit. Thank you guys. Love you so much. And I'll see you in a couple days. Bye-bye. You always posting up pictures, trying to look like you win.